Dave from Days of Glory Shopworks here, and on this episode we're going to try and beat the heat by working inside of a shop today. So it's time to fix the rear diff on the Dart, and we'll go over that when we get her inside. John's coming down to give us a hand, and away we go. Alright guys, so Suregrip back together. Crown gear is on. I cleaned the mating surfaces with a sanding block, and I just finished torquing all of the bolts to spec. Red thread locker. And okay, so I couldn't get into the machine shop after all. Tried. My best friend was getting married as well, and he's at the machine shop, and well, he took 2 weeks off through the wedding, which, I mean, hey, he's getting married. But the boys also had a skeleton crew going, so long story short, we just couldn't line up a good time to get her done. And I can't argue, the price was right, but it didn't happen. And so what I did, I took the two halves, I cleaned everything up, sanded it and polished a little bit of the surfaces that you had seen between the cup and the cone where they were beat up a little bit. And anyway, put everything back together, and I used springs from a 9 1/4 Suregrip. Now I have no idea if these are going to work, but they were 1/4 inch taller, same diameter, and same kind of spring rate from the feel of it all. And anyway, so I had one gacked spring, and anyway, I replaced all the springs with the full set from a 9 1/4, which the gear set was trash. The Suregrip actually was broken in that 9 1/4. It's pretty spectacular. That was John's doing. Anyway, long story short, this is together. The bolts that hold the case halves are torqued with red thread locker. Crown gear is torqued to 50 foot-pounds with red thread locker. And it's time for me to set up the pinion. I'm not going to walk you through that, but because it's long and painful. Can be. Essentially, I'm starting from scratch. I don't know where to go with my pinion depth right now, so I am literally just going to start from zero and work my way out from there. Best way to go when you're trying to get rid of a bunch of mistakes or issues that may or may not have been there. Well guys, this is day 2. We ran into a little snag last night. My bearing kit, the pinion bearings were fine, crush sleeve fine, pinion seal, all that jazz were fine. The side bearings, they were not good, so I got the pinion set up with no shims as of yet, because I don't know what I can trust with my old measurements, so I'm starting from scratch. And well, what ended up happening, I went to put the carrier in with the new bearings on it, and the side bearings were wrong. So I searched them out, and thankfully my local Pat's Auto had the bearings in stock. The correct ones this time. So first thing to do when I get in there is to swap those bearings out, and then I'm going to start putting the pinion in. I got to put the car back on the hoist. I had to tow it out last night, but yeah, we're gonna get to it and start getting some mileage happening. Well, here we are. We got about 8 thou backlash, and we are set with, well, I want to say 75 thou pinion shims, but I had 115 in before with the 488, so I'm not too surprised. Everything seems to be running true. There's our coast side, and let me just rotate it. That's our drive side. Coast side's dead center. Drive side's a little bit low on the tooth, a little bit deep actually, but I like that because when you're drag racing, you're actually forcing the gears apart harder. So now all that's left is to pull it all back apart, and then I'm going to put the new pinion bearings in, the crush sleeve, set everything, get my proper rotational torque, set my backlash, run the pattern again, and we're going to hopefully fill it with fluid and color good.